The standard equation of an ellipse goes like this, and we've looked at this in previous lessons. So typically it has something like that. And we know that sometimes the a squared and the b squared switch around, but this is the standard equation of an ellipse. But what if you are given an equation that it does not look like an ellipse? What if you're given something that looks like x squared plus 2x plus y squared minus 6y is equal to 4? Your teachers maybe showed you something like that, and you have to know how to convert this over here into something that looks more like that. And that's what we're going to show you in this lesson. So let's start with our first example. So our first example is pretty straightforward. We know that an ellipse equation has a plus, which is good, this one does, but it has a 1 over here. So to get rid of this 100, we need to divide everything by 100. And so you can type that on your calculator. 4 divided by 100 is 1 over 25. So you could say x squared over 25. You could type that on your calculator. It will give you 1 over 4. So you could say y squared over 4. And then 100 divided by 100 is 1. And that is an ellipse equation. You might be wondering, where's the h and where's the k? Well, remember, from previous lessons, we've spoken about the fact that h and k is just the center of the ellipse. So if the center of the ellipse is at 0, 0, then the h and k will just be 0, so you won't see it over here. Let's do another example. So here's the types of questions that can be quite tricky. So here we've got x's and y's, and it just looks messy. How are we going to convert this into something that looks like this? Let's quickly write it out. So this is the goal. I don't know why I keep saying k over there. It's so weird. That's the goal. So what you're going to do, you're going to get the x's by themselves, okay? Then you're going to get the y's, and then you're going to take the number to the other side. If you watched the lesson where I showed you how to convert a circle equation that was given like this into the standard circle equation, what you would remember is that we used completing the square, and that's exactly what we're going to do now. But with an ellipse, it's a little bit more tricky. So what you got to do is you got to make sure that this number has no number in front of it, or this x squared has no number in front of it, and this one also cannot have a number in front of it. So you're going to take out a common factor of 4, and you're going to be left with x squared minus 10x for that part. For this one, you're going to take out a 9, and you're going to be left with y squared plus 4y. And that's going to be equal to negative 100. Okay, so that's step 1. Make sure that the x squared and the y squared do not have a number in the front. Now what you're going to do is you're going to remember what we did in that circle video where we learned how to complete the square over here. So, and just leave the 4 on the outside. So what we're going to do is we're going to say x squared take away 10x. Now in that circle video, what we did was we would always say plus, and then you would half this number. So it'll be negative 5 squared. Okay? And then we're going to do the same here. So you're going to say y squared plus 4y. And then we're going to say plus half of this number squared. Okay. Then what we would normally do is we would, so we already have negative 100. Now normally what we did in the circle videos, we would put this on this side, and we would do the same with this number. But what you got to do now is you have to remember that there's a 4. So you're going to say plus 4 times negative 5 squared plus 9 times 2 squared. You see? 9 like that. Now, going into the next step, in the circle video that I showed you a few lessons ago, this is where you would have made a bracket and another bracket. And then this part, once again, you can just type it all on your calculator. And you're going to end up with 36. Then this part became x minus 5. Remember, it's the thing that is to the power of 2 and the other thing that's to the power of 2. And then you're going to do the same here, so it's going to be y plus 2. Great. Now, because it's an ellipse, we need to make sure that this is a 1. So what we're going to do next is we're going to divide everything by 36. Okay, so we're going to divide by 36. Divide by 36. Divide by 36. And so if you type that on the calculator, it'll give you 1 over 9. So that's going to be over 9. You can think there's a 1 there, but you don't have to write it in. And then 9 over 36, type that on the calculator. That'll give you 1 over 4. And there we go. We've done it. And now we're going to do another example. So here's our next example. Step 1, get all the x's next to each other. Then do all the y's. and then take all the other numbers to the other side. The next step is to remember that for the x's, this x squared must never have a number in front of it. So you're going to take out a 4 as a common factor, and you'd be left with x squared take away 6x. Then for this one, luckily we don't have to take out a common factor, so that's okay. Perfect. Now we just go do normal completing the square. So we're going to have x squared take away 6x, and then plus half of that number, which is negative 3, and then you're going to square it. And then plus y squared plus 2y plus half of this number squared. Then you need to add those two green parts on the other side, but remember, if there's a number in the front, you need to take it with you. So you're going to say plus 4 times negative 3 squared plus 1 squared. So we're going to say 4, and then this is the part where we make the brackets. It's exactly the process we used when doing circles, except for the part where you have to take out a common factor. That's a little different. So that'll give us 16 on the right. So here we just have x minus 3. Remember, it's the x that's squared and it's the minus 3 that's squared. And then this will be y plus 1. It's the y that's squared and the 1 that's squared. And now we need to get this to become a 1 because it's an ellipse. So we divide everything by 16. And so that's going to end up becoming, if you type this on your calculator, it becomes 1 over 4. So it's going to become x minus 3 squared over 4 plus y plus 1 squared over 16 equals to 1. Let's write that a little bit larger. Sorry. X minus 3 squared over 4 plus y plus 1 squared over 16 equals to 1.